joining us again. Thank you from all around the world, and thank you for giving your time and your energy for us to be together and share this time. I should have been saying, but I forgot to say, I hope you've got your master crystal reasonably at hand. And if you haven't, if it's easy to get, then please could you go get your master crystal. Okay, so it feels that, again, like I said last week, there's a lot to say, but I have made a few notes of the main thing to say, and what I want to give a kind of world overview, but as also some details. As I said last week, where we are is the end of thousands of years of a particular process of a cycle of this earth and a cycle of humanity. And it has been a battle between the good and the bad, the light and the dark, and we're all part of that battle. And it seems, I have to pinch myself that we're actually coming to some kind of fruition of this journey, and when I know that the darkest time is just before dawn, and that is absolutely where we are. And it's just amazing that, I feel anyway, that it's amazing that I'm here and alive now to actually experience and witness all of this. And you know, and I think it's amazing that you are here as well. And it's like, what are we witnessing? And whatever one's, you know, political views or ideas, what I can only share with you what my truth is and what I found out through all the investigation of all the people that I know, people that I followed, often met and cross-referenced for a long time. And I think what is interesting is that it is America that is leading, well, it's I hesitate to say it's leading the world. It's the stage for the acting out of what is happening now. And what has happened is that as the investigations have unfolded in the United States, that people and states and officials have tried to use the rule of law to find clarity. It's not been possible. There's no point anymore in saying this is unlawful. There is no law. There is no function of law to actually uphold law. And that is an amazing place to be. And it is causing such, because there is nothing for anyone to hook good or bad and truth onto, it means that that the depth of deception, the depth of lies, the depth of evil, the depth of bribery, corruption, people being bought, is beyond what anybody would have thought. The idea was that the election was rigged back in November, but as it's unfolded in a way that's allowed to come to the surface deeper and deeper levels. Sorry, I'm just trying to, Leanne, can you mute yourself, please?
Oh, sorry.
So we've gone to deeper and deeper, grosser levels of who has been corrupted, who won't tell the truth, who won't stand in integrity. And it's beyond, I think, what anybody could have realized. And this is really, really good news, because even whichever side you're on, then those that are corrupt, those that have been bought, those that are telling lies, those that are not standing for the truth are being found. And the deeper we go into the dark side, the more the dark is revealed, then the more it's known and the more it can be healed. And that's the truth for us personally, and it's the truth for the world and all of humanity. So, but the thing is that it might be that more of this is just acted out. So what we've got is we've got the archetypes. We've got the archetypes of good and bad, and we've got the players of who's playing good and who's playing bad. And I had about an hour and a half's conversation with members of the Angelic Reiki family in China this afternoon. So China thinks United States is bad and they're good. The West thinks China is bad and they're good. Okay. And it's just a matter of where you're viewing it from. But what is happening is that these two countries are playing out. And what I said to the Chinese, and I say to you, it's not personal, and it is just these two countries are representing the war of good and evil. And it depends on your perspective, what is good and what is evil, as it's always been like that. And it may be that in the coming months, we get on mainstream media ideas like there's a world war coming, ideas like there's nuclear war coming. And this is just part of the game acting itself out. The people who I respect all say that a nuclear war will not happen and a real war will not happen. It's a war of minds and of mind control. It's a media war of lies. Now, and I really invite you to really examine for yourself where you are, and in terms of the knowledge, information, clarity, because part of angelic Reiki is wisdom. It's the second ray. So we can do meditations and we can hold people in love and all the rest of it. But what comes with that is the responsibility of being wise, having the information and using it to build an accurate picture. We can't heal our personal issues unless we're really clear about them. So something happens and it presses one of my buttons and I feel upset in a certain way. If I'm clear as to what has pressed my buttons and how I'm actually feeling, I can deal with it. So it's up to us to be clear. So I made a remark, that in Denmark, the most amazing thing had happened. And it was, kind of looked at everybody and there was a few people going, yeah, I know. And there's a few blank faces. And I know it's difficult to find out what's happening. We're used to having the news, the information about the world spoon-fed, big screens, television, telling us what's going on. That's not available anymore. And we've got to work hard at a network and cross-reference. And if somebody mentions a name, Google them, search them on YouTube, search them on their platform, etc., to find out what's going on. If any one country does something, that also represents the collective. So Denmark was going to make vaccination compulsory. And to the extent that somebody could go into somebody's house and force them to have the vaccination. The nature of humans, the center of our essence, is free will. We don't have even the free will to walk out of our doors, to wear the clothes I want, to have my face covered or not. Well, actually, I do, because I don't buy into any of it. I do absolutely what I want to do. I act out my free will. And I've found ways of doing it. That is the essence of humans. And the Parliament of Denmark was going to absolutely annihilate. It was going to become a dictatorship. And for 9 days, thousands of people stood outside the Parliament simply with pots and pans and made a noise all day for 9 days. They exercised their free will, and the Parliament has stood down. They will not pass that law anymore. And I actually wondered whether there's been something that's been really on my mind before starting this, and I wonder, should I say it, should I not say it? But sometimes I'll get messages saying that these gatherings are too late or not the right time. But it's time now. I mean, would you stand for 9 days outside your parliament to be free, to exercise your free will, to live human rights, the rights that were given to us by the divine, not by any parliament, not by any judge, not by anyone. There are certain things that we are born with that is our divine right. What would you do to claim that? To live this very essence of free will. You know, in workshops, you know, there's questions like, do I believe in free will, etc. And what is free will? This is free will. We're being asked to really live it now in a very practical way. And it's okay for this warrior energy to be there. As I say in workshops, being spiritual is not about being nice. It's about being where our truth is. And linking it more with angelic Reiki, as I said last week, an angelic Reiki healing is that reconnection to higher self. Now, in the West, we tend to use the word soul self. And I do have considerations about that word soul, because it seems so connected to religions and to something spiritual. I mean, spiritual in a kind of controlled religious sense. It isn't necessarily always an accessible word. So I'm going to use the word higher self, true self, divine self, you that you were before your parents were born. So that essence, that true self, that is where our life force comes from. That is where, whether we call it chi, prana, all of these words, our life, our existence, that comes into this body to animate it for us to live our lives. It's a divine, is given divinely. And our free will is part of the divine law. And I personally have registered with what is called the common law. I've opted out of the normal registration of a person. Because as soon as your parents send your birth certificate to your government, they own you as a commodity that they trade. You are not a person, you are just a paper that has a value that they trade. You become what's called a straw man. And you can claim your right to be you back again. And I invite you to do that. Research common law and be registered and known as a living person. Not just same as a bag of flour or a bag of sugar that has a value, a monetary value. You're not that. But what is interesting is that the cabal, the dark side that want to control humans, want to chip us, want us just to not have any free will, not to be the inspired, creative, beautiful humans that is our divine right. They want us just to be their slaves, which we are. We shouldn't have to work all day just to live. That is never how it was. That's never right. That's never how it's meant to be. And it really, really doesn't need to be like that. There is so much money in this world that we do not need to be slaves to it. And if everything does unfold and Nasara is implemented, then it will be the end of that. We won't be slaves that have to work all day, because that's our divine right to live freely, and it is possible. And all those that work against this happening and work to poison us through vaccinations, to poison us through the chemicals in food, to poison us through the atmosphere and pollution, through taxes, through EMFs. There is a Wi-Fi that is not unhealthy. We're all sat in a field of electromagnetic frequency, our internet, that actually does damage our health. It doesn't need to be that frequency. There is another way of having the internet, and we can live with it. It doesn't hurt us. But this vibration does hurt us. And those that have contrived to make us less than the free, inspired, creative, happy, playful, dynamic human beings. The interesting thing is they have no direct access to, they cannot live from the divine. They cannot survive on divine life energy. They can't do what you're doing and just breathe the air and eat food and live and have vitality and be healthy. And what I'm talking about, and I'll just touch on it briefly so that it's said and it's done, they live on children. They need to take children's life force to live. They have sold their souls. We still have the free will to live on divine life and to live out the divine and that creativity, that joy, that vitality, that freedom. They don't even have that choice. Once you take, and they take it as drops from a dropper bottle or injections or just eat the life force of children. And when that is stopped, and that is that they don't have that source of life energy, they can't live anymore. There probably is a process where of retribution and I don't know what the word is, re something them, rescuing them in some way. If they can change enough, there may be a way. I don't know. But at the moment, that is where they are. So we have to honor and celebrate that we are at least free to live from true divine life force. So that is the extremeness of where we are. And most people are very, very positive about the future. And they say that there's going to be tremendous energy and tremendous changes. And everybody that doesn't know what's been going on are going to be extremely shocked that governments do not care I don't care at all whether you live or die. Our governments are not on our side. That food is not prepared for us to live. That water is poisoned so that it's not refreshing. That the law, that the courts are not there to implement the law. They are there to make a profit. They're businesses. All fines are just money for the business. Everything is upside down, and that's going to be a tremendous shock to people that have no idea about this. So I feel it is part of our job to be warriors, to be brave. And there's lots of links on the new website. On the new website, it's a tab that says links. And there are links to people or organizations that will give you all the information you need. And it may be that on one of them, they mention somebody else. Follow that track. Follow that name. Look that name up. Look at their website. Look at wherever, whatever platform they might have. Follow the links. Follow the trail. And there's everything that you need on that website to inform yourself. And I feel that it's actually part of our, well, I wanted to say duty, but perhaps that's a bit heavy. It's part of our, I think, our service, our compassion and our love for our fellow humans, for us to be educated, so that when everything does collapse, we can say, yes, this is how it's meant to be. And this and this is the reason. And these are the players, and this is why it happened. And something has to collapse before there can be something new. And nature tells us this. The trees die and the leaves create the nutrition for the next year's growth. That is how it is. And we don't like things dying, and we don't like chaos. And that will be very upsetting. It'll be traumatizing for most people. And most people they will be they may be just very confused, very angry, very disorientated, very frightened when you believe that the government's on your side and that medicine is for your health, and you find out it's not. It's for your poison. So I'd like to invite you to really use our free will to find this information, our freedom that we have, because you are part of angelic Reiki. You've been linked to this family, this organization, this fraternity that is based on truth and wisdom, compassion and knowledge. And that we hold this as a gift for when we're asked and when it's needed. And I really feel, I mean, for me, today, there's been a real warrior energy coming up. And some of the times, you know, I've felt quite angry and disappointed and frustrated. And reasonably so. But also to say that where the whole of humanity is and the earth and this fight of light and dark, it is also our own fight for our light and our dark. It isn't something that's happening out there. And whatever upsets us out there, it's a mirror, it's an invitation. And what's also, this is angelic Reiki. Angels, another way of talking about angels, it's a way, it's divine archetypes. How does the divine express itself? It's present through archetypes. That is what an angel is. It's a similar word. And we are living an archetype. And in a way, everything that's happening, it's not even personal to humanity. It's something that's on a much bigger scale. So it's for us to be informed, have the wisdom, but also to have that still centered place for ourselves and for others. Now, we'll do a little meditation, and very much for ourselves, because if we can hold this still place, then that is a gift for everyone, and that is that stillness within the collective consciousness of all of humanity. And I was really interested to think that this meditation and this healing that we do together, and in the opening up of the space, it might be the last time I ever read the Great Invocation.